Councillor David Perry, I call you to speak on your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think you put quite articulately to describe Councillor Bull's U-turn on parking there, and something which I will be talking about when I go through. And you're right, it is important that where people have a voice, that we bring forward, despite changing policy, we still come to this forum and give their views. The Labour Group has worked hard to produce an alternative budget to put before the people of Harrow, and I am proud as the leader of the group to be standing here this evening promoting our budget and standing up for the residents in our borough. The Labour alternative budget before you tonight has true Labour values at the heart of its collation. And just as we mentioned earlier, many of Susan Hall and the Conservative administration's changes, I think there was 50 or 60 minor changes to last year's budget, which was formulated under Labour. So let's just clarify the record there. For many recent years, as though I can remember on this council, the Conservatives have never produced an alternative budget when in opposition. We are elected, we are paid, we are here to hold the administration to account. And it's the Labour Party who have worked hard, both in administration as well as opposition. I'd like to describe our alternative budget in a simple description. It is about putting people first. And we keep hearing this phony argument around capital and revenue and this smokescreen and trying to confuse people. But it's about priorities, and when that was discussed at Cabinet, it was quickly jumped upon, tried to create a smokescreen when we was trying to articulate the differences over bins, of which I'll come on to, and other areas around putting people first. Within our alternative budget, we are introducing and putting back in £500,000 worth of the contingency to supporting those residents most in need. It's there for a reason, and I think that can be drawn upon in future. For you to be raiding the contingency pot to pay for your electioneering budget, I think you should be ashamed. Domestic violence is something we have gone on with locally in the press, and something which we have had much response over the last 12 months, and hence why it was introduced this year, because of much of the work which has gone on, often across party, but many of our own members internally have raised such issues. And in listening to them as a group, not one person, not the leader, as a group, we have brought forward positive policies such as that. That trickles over also into the work around carers, the health agenda, the introduction around the sports service level agreement which we're looking to do. Much work was done under the Labour administration bringing the health agenda to the sports, building on an Olympic legacy, and I think we need to fund that. Supporting business is something we all keep talking about. And you're right, I've mentioned the U-turn, but nobody believes any of the rhetoric we've heard from the independent group around it was their policy, because they seem to be claiming credit for everything. I and many of my colleagues were in a meeting with one or two of them and officers when we agreed the rollout of this. It didn't just happen overnight when administration changed hands. It was in the running for a long time. And so for them to claim it was all of their policy is downright wrong. I've already produced a petition on Under One Sky. I think everybody knows it's our flagship community event. It puts Harrow on the map. And this administration has scrapped it. And I definitely believe, and so does the Labour Group, that we can produce a community event of Under One Sky while still celebrating 60 years this year and the commemoration to the outbreak of World War I. I'd like to just talk about one other area which I think is important. And the financial credibility of this party is always questioned. We've heard it from Tony Ferrari already this evening. But within our Labour Group political office, of which I and the senior members are custodians of, have underspent this year of up to £35,000. Of the specific, even though we've had a reduction, we have still prudently managed. Excuse me, 1 minute, Councillor Perry. Could we please not interrupt him? Thank you. Yeah. I think it's an important point. Again, the most important point, where other budgets are overspending, the direct one we are responsible for, I'm accountable for, we've underspent by £35,000. And what we plan to do is redirect this funding for a one-off cost into supporting the community who provide services on our behalf, investing in our voluntary sector. They keep coming to us saying that they need assistance. So what we've done, we've worked on behalf of them, redirecting monies, boosting next year's grants funding pot, which helps small to medium-sized charity and community groups in Harrow. We'd also be cutting councillors' allowances, something which we've always played on. We haven't voted for, agreed increases in the past, and that is another thing which we've put forward to reduce councillors' allowances. Having read through the Conservative administration budget, one message was clear, and that is that they are out of touch with the people they claim to be serving. And this is further backed up when the leader of the council was questioned recently about the homelessness in Harrow. And Councillor Hall's response, I don't think we've ever had a problem with homelessness in Harrow. Given Harrow has the third highest number of people reporting themselves as homeless, Councillor Hall does not have the depth of understanding when producing a forward budget. This situation is made worse when, again, the leader of the council was asked at the last council meeting about a genuine issue facing our residents with regard to food banks in Harrow. And I'm sure you can guess what the leader of the council's response was. What food banks? I need to look into this. How out of touch? This is a clear sign that Conservative administration do not know what's going on in the ground. Their proposals are also redirecting monies from the contingency funds set aside for the most vulnerable, as I've already outlined, for their pet projects, for blatant electioneering. This is a reckless budget put forward by the Conservatives in a get now, pay later electioneering budget. And they will be plugging their financial gap. But the Tories have outlined and clearly can see that the people of the borough will be paying for this in the long run. The Tory budget demonstrates the wrong priorities at the wrong time. Councillor Hall's pet project of £400,000 on 400 bins is outrageous, and the leader of the council should be ashamed. It's your pet project, Councillor Hall, £1,000 per bin. It's laughable. I have more quotes. When asked about this out-of-control spending on bins, Councillor Hall said, and I quote, I agree. I do not think this is good value. You just couldn't make this stuff up. The leader of the council is questioning her own policies, and what I would like to know from the leader of the council, if this is your main agenda, clean-up, which is not good value, what other proposals within your budget are not good value? This is council taxpayers' money you're wasting, and so I urge you to listen to the people of Harrow at the heart of your budget and reverse this policy. The Tories continue to tell us one of their key themes is around cleaner, safer, fairer. However, their actions are anything but fair. They appear to be turning their backs on Harrow's hardship fund if re-elected by following national Tory policy, by planning to pass this cut on and turning their backs on the people that deserve their help the most. I will briefly talk about the corporate plan, given we're debating that in one, Madam Mayor. And this is, when reading this document, was dull, uninspiring and lacked vision, in my opinion. The Labour amendment to the corporate plan puts forward the heart of Harrow, puts forward that we are the party that look to the future. We want to take a lead in West London and beyond, working with other boroughs through shared services. And that is why we believe this council needs clarity over a stable senior management structure, following your slapdash, knee-jerk, clip-of-a-finger decision to delete the chief executive role at this council, which presided over a successful transition of £60+ million worth of savings from the government, which cut to this council's budget. And the leader, the self-proclaimed strong leader, the self-proclaimed strong decision to destabilise this council was evident. I would like to briefly just touch upon the independent group's alternative budget. I think that is electioneering at its highest. We can see not salami slicing, salami boosting, a little bit here in every single policy area. And we've flagged and highlighted the Conservative budget as being reckless. This is the most reckless document I've ever seen in my life. Sacking all the corporate directors, let's sack all the divisional directors. And this is something I just want to end on, Madam Mayor, if I can. And it's around supporting staff. Whichever budget is passed this evening, it's going to be the hard-working staff that will be delivering this year's budget. And in our view, the staff of Harrow Council truly are the lifeblood of this organisation. I'd like to praise the staff of Harrow Council for all their hard work over the past 12 months in difficult circumstances, under extreme pressure, following the huge cuts from the Tory government. Please can I ask Paul Nazareth to pass on our comments to staff. Both the Tory administration and their backers, the independent group, should be ashamed of themselves. Both continuously, through their negative rhetoric, attack the hard-working staff of this council. This is very disappointing. At recent cabinet meetings when debating the budget, the leader of the council and Councillor Ferrari the finance portfolio that claimed nothing has happened for 3 years when in the Labour administration. How naive can you be to just brush off, just like that, some excellent achievements of the officers under extremely difficult circumstances when facing £1 million worth of budget reductions? This council achieved best achieving council in 2011 and 12 because of the hard work of the staff. The leader of the independent group this week, Councillor Tyre, has asked, how are you paid for your last Chancellor budget? And he responded, getting rid of all the lousy officers. What an insult to the hard-working staff of Harrow Council. Some residents have already argued that this is extremely cowardly because the officers cannot defend themselves in public. All of these examples go to show that it's the Labour group that are on the side of the hard-working staff of Harrow Council, as opposed to the blame culture from the other two parties, and I feel we commend and command the respect of officers in order to deliver our budget for the people of Harrow. So in conclusion, I believe our alternative budget holds true to Labour values in standing up for the most in need when Harrow needs us most. Harrow deserve better than a reckless, irresponsible and unfair budget proposed by the Conservative administration.